Hey Homestead family! Today we're going to show you how to make biscuits, but we're going to use a little twist to it. We're going to make the biscuits and we're going to freeze them for later because everybody loves biscuits.
Today we're going to be making biscuits, and we're going to start. This is one of the simplest biscuit recipes, and I've been making these for years. We're going to start with self-rising flour, 2 cups of self-rising flour, 1/4 cup of shortening, vegetable shortening, and about a cup of milk. So the first thing that I want to show you is this trick that I learned a while back. Is I'm going to cover my counter with cling wrap first, because this makes cleanup so easy. Okay, so I just take a layer of cling wrap and cover my counter, stretch it out. It doesn't have to be perfect. If it doesn't, if it's got wrinkles in it, it doesn't matter. I'm just covering my workspace with the cling wrap. Now, if you don't have this, or you don't have this space, a cutting board works well too, but because of my countertops, I don't have to worry about the cutting board, so this is what I do. The first thing I'm going to do, and please know I'm giving you measurements, but after so long of doing this, I don't really measure anymore. I just kind of know what looks right. But for now, we're doing 2 cups of self-rising flour. And then I'm going to take about 1/4 cup of vegetable shortening. And this is kind of, it's room temperature, so it's not real hard. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shortening and begin to work it into the flour. Now I'm going to keep, and I just use a fork, and I'm just going to keep working it through until it sort of has a coarse, crummy texture, almost like graham cracker crumbs when you have a graham cracker crust for something. And you have those broken up graham cracker crumbs. That's the best way I know to describe it. But so I'm just going to make sure there's no lumps, and it's just worked in real well with the flour. Now, one of the secrets to good biscuits, to light fluffy biscuits, is not to get them too dry. You almost, in my opinion, you almost mix them with just like it feels like you've got too much liquid in it. So it's almost not manageable, but by the time you roll them out on the flour dough, on the flour, it gives it that right consistency. So we've got if you want to look at this, see what this looks like. We've got the shortening all worked in, so that's kind of what it looks like. All right, so now we're going to add our milk into this. I'm actually using powdered milk this time. I don't always use powdered milk. Sometimes I'll even take whole milk and thin it down a little bit. And I've never had anyone complain about the taste. So this is just a little bit soupier than you would think you would want it, because I can't just pick this up and roll it out. But that's, to me, that's the secret to light biscuits. So I'm going to set this aside now and sprinkle some powder, not powder, sprinkle some flour on my workspace. To me, keeping it a little bit thinner in the bowl helps you to prevent you from getting too much, getting it too dry when you start doing this portion of it. Plus it also helps with mixing it well too, the thinner it is. Okay, so there's my dough. Now I'm going to put a little bit of flour on my hands as well. I just don't want any, I'm gonna put a little bit on top too, but I don't want anything sticking, so I'm gonna start kneading it a little bit. So I can't actually, I can pick it up, but if I picked it up, see how it falls apart? That's the way I like it. That's the way I like my dough to be, is just barely together, because that makes it fluffier to me. A little bit more sticking to my hands. Okay, so now we're ready for the next step. Now the next step is I have kind of flattened out the dough. You can use a roller if you want to roll this out, but be careful not to get too thin with it. I don't actually roll it out, I just kind of do it with my hand and just pat it out and get it about the thickness that I want. This is probably 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick. Now, I'm excited about my biscuit cutter because I just got this the other day, and it reminds me of the biscuit cutter that my mother used when she made biscuits. It's a wooden biscuit cutter. They have come out with all different kinds these days. You can do, you know, different sizes and those kinds of things, but you just can't beat the wooden biscuit cutter. So first thing you do is kind of dip it into the flour and make sure it's coated real well with flour. And I'm going to I've taken my baking sheet and put a piece of parchment paper on it, and I'm just laying this, I didn't grease it because we're not cooking it, just laying it on the parchment paper. It doesn't matter how far apart it is because once again, we're not cooking it. These are going to go directly into the freezer. I don't know if you've been to the freezer section and seen the homemade frozen biscuits that you can buy that are pre-made and frozen. So that's sort of the idea that we're going with here, is we're making the biscuits now, freezing them in the freezer, and then we're gonna put them in a Ziploc bag, and then when we want biscuits, we just take them out of the freezer. When you take them out of the freezer and put them in the oven, I suggest you preheat your oven to about 400. And I'm just gonna rework this dough again real quick. 400, and usually it takes about, depending on your oven, about 15-20 minutes to cook them. So that one's a little odd shaped, but that's okay. A couple more work it again. This is another reason that I like not putting putting a little more liquid into it than you would think you would want, because so I can, when I re-knead it after I've cut the biscuits out and add a little more flour each time, it doesn't get so dry. Now, this is what we always do. You gotta make, your last biscuit can't be cut out. It has to be like just a fun, usually I wind up with about half of this and have a mini biscuit. And that's always been a tradition in our family, is to have a fun mini biscuit. So there's for the mini biscuits. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pop these in the freezer now, and we'll come back to you. Now when's the magic happens. Here's the easy cleanup. Ta-da! It's done. That's as simple as that. So it's been 30 to 45 minutes since we put the biscuits in the freezer, and they're all frozen now. So all we're gonna do is just pop them in a Ziploc bag, and if you want 2 biscuits or if you want 10 biscuits, this is a lot easier to do. Like I said, put them in the oven, preheat the oven to 400, and put these in there for about 15 to 20 minutes, and they are delicious. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and always remember, do your best and let God do the rest. Bye-bye.